Hello and welcome back to the Pokemon Battle League. My name is Ace and I am the coach of the Seafoam Squirtle Squad. This week, week 2, I'm going to be taking on Cake Golem, the coach of the Viridian City Volcarona, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to open up the battle by sending out my Blastoise, Shylock, and that'll be facing off against his Azelf, Ophelia. I have an inkling that his Azelf is primarily a stone setter, so I'm going to Mega Evolve and use Dark Pulse to see if I can't take him out right from the get-go. Mega Blastoise has an ability called Mega Launcher, which multiplies the attack power of certain moves by 1.5, which makes this Dark Pulse very strong against a Psychic type like Azelf. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that his Azelf had a Focus Sash on and would hang on with 1 HP, so it does go ahead and get the Stealth Rocks off. I use a second Dark Pulse to finish him off. And he brings out a Mantine with a name that I don't know that I can pronounce. Ixazactyl or something like that. It's really just a feint though. He sees me trying to use Rapid Spin, so he brings out his Ghost type Chandelure named Rococo. Obviously, the Rapid Spin doesn't hit. He hits me with an Energy Ball, which was pretty scary at the time, but fortunately my Blastoise is very, very bulky and could take one hit, and follow it up with a very strong Dark Pulse. Next up, he sends out a Crocodile named Knave, and this is probably the scariest Pokemon on his team. It has an ability, Moxie, that every time it KOs a Pokemon, it gets an attack buff. My initial response is to bring out an incredibly defensive Registeel named Bassanio, thinking he could take the hit a little bit better than he actually could. I was expecting to have more than half my HP left, even after a super effective attack, and I didn't, and I decided it was a misplay and pulled him back again. I followed up by sending out my Cresselia, Juliet, and which has the benefit of Levitate, so I didn't have to worry about any more Earthquakes. My first thought was to try and poison the Crocodile with Toxic, but Knave got withdrawn before I got the chance to do so. Sends the Mantine back out. I do successfully poison it. And I heal a little bit from the Stealth Rock damage using my leftovers. I have Cake Golem has named this Pokemon so that it's impossible to pronounce. Ixertactyl or something? Either way, I withdraw Cresselia and I send Blastoise back out, who takes a Toxic on the chin and is thusly not long for this world. Before he passes out from poison though, he does get one last Rapid Spin in, which gets rid of the Stealth Rocks that Azelf put out. I was pretty grateful for that. Those Stealth Rocks would have really messed up my Dragonite later on in the battle had I had to worry about them. He finishes off my Blastoise with a Water type attack. I'm not certain if that was just supposed to be ironic or what, but it certainly gets the job done. He heals up a bit with his own leftovers, takes a little bit of poison damage from the Toxic attack. I send out my Magnezone named Leer. He doesn't have much interest in going off against an electric type, so he sends out his Girder, which is aptly named Goon. I pick up a little bit of momentum by using Volt Switch and bringing out my Greninja named Puck. Greninja has an ability called Protean, which changes his type to match the type of whatever attack he uses. So he switches to a Psychic type when he uses a Psychic attack, and thus gets the same type attack bonus, which is enough to take out Girder. I have a life orb on him, so he takes a little bit of damage every time he attacks. Cake Golem brings out the Crocodile again, and because I've switched using Protean to a Psychic type attack, his Dark type attack knockoff one-hit KOs me. I bring yet another Psychic type out, though a very bulky one, and he takes, or well, rather, she takes a knockoff on the chin and gets off a very important Toxic on this Crocodile, which was otherwise sort of wrecking my team. Crocodile finishes off Cresselia. I had hoped to be able to get a Lunar Dance off and maybe heal up my Registeel, but it wasn't to be. At this point, Crocodile is starting to take a little bit of poison damage, but he's also starting to rack up attack buffs using his ability Moxie, which is pretty frightening for me. I'm worried that the Crocodile is going to just sweep through the rest of my team without me being able to stop it. There's a second attack buff from Moxie. And some slightly more intense poison damage from Toxic. I'm hoping the poison will encourage him to switch soon, but he does go ahead and get one more attack in. Unfortunately, Dragonite's got an ability, Multiscale, which halves the damage of the first attack he takes when he's at full health. So I go ahead and take that knockoff on the chin and speed up and buff Dragonite so that he can use his attacks with a little bit more speed and force. I was hoping to be able to take out the Crocodile this turn, but he withdrew it, and I used my Z attack, Devastating Drake, which is somewhat overkill on this Mantine. I'm going to call him Bob. The Mantine is now named Bob. Oberon pretty handily takes out Bob, and Cake Golem sends out his own dragon type. Salamence's ability drops Dragonite's attack back down to normal, so it essentially becomes a race to see who's faster. Fortunately, my speed buff outpaces him on a regular basis, and I'm able to use a dragon type attack to take him out. Back out comes Crocodile, the bane of my existence in this battle. He's at about half health, just thanks primarily to poison, and he has his own dragon type attack to take out my Dragonite. And even unbuffed, he's faster than it, which was disappointing. I send out my Magnezone, and I just pray. I just pray that he doesn't somehow take him out. I was hoping he had some sort of choice item so he wouldn't be able to use Earthquake, and it looks like I was right on that front. And I pretty much feel like I got lucky at a couple of instances here, but in the end I did end up beating him by the skin of my teeth. It was a solid battle. I'm really happy with it. I learned a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching.